What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be providing you with tips on how to pull off more clutch plays for your team so you can put the team on your back. In all seriousness though, whether you're playing solo or with a full squad, you're going to be placed in very stressful scenarios in Apex, and this video is going to provide you with tips that are going to help you clutch those outnumbered scenarios so you can win more for your squad and clutch up. I'm also going to be showing you guys in-game examples that should help with your decision-making process when trying to solo a team. Alright, ladies and gents, let's crack right into it. So, with being a solo player in Apex Legends, you have the odds stacked against you. These 3 tips all need to be taken advantage of in order to tip the odds back into your favor. It's very difficult to fight a squad 1v3 in Apex Legends, and in other YouTube videos and across the Apex community, we all hear that in order to 1v3, you need to take 3 separate fights and isolate those fights into 3 separate 1v1s. However, a lot of these videos don't provide any tips on how to do that. Well guys, this video is going to tell you exactly how. The first tip is location. Location is critical in outnumbered scenarios in Apex because it's significantly more difficult to win a 1v3 in a simple 2-story building versus a building like with a zip line or multiple high points. So with this first tip in mind, I want you to always be thinking about your location for your fight. If your team goes down in a very difficult place to take a 1v3 or a 1v2, then reposition and bring the fight more in your favor with an intricate building and preferably a location with high ground. In regular buildings in this game with limited elevation, your ability to escape is drastically reduced. If you're located in the open or in a very basic building, it's going to be very difficult to take those outnumbered scenarios and come out on top. These multi-leveled zipline buildings are so clutch with these kinds of fights because it provides extra escapability in order to isolate those fights into simple 1v1s. So let's go ahead over my first example here in real time and we'll talk right through it. So usually I don't like to take the zip line here. I like to try to climb up if I can. It's a little quieter. Alright, so there's one knock. I'm literally like 20 HP, so I gotta get out. I just took a Mastiff. If you can see that this guy's beneath me. He could easily take that zip line, go up 1 level and kill me, so I have to phase out. I have to get out. Luckily my teammates are there to kind of stall a little bit. Alright, so now we're in a 1v3 scenario. So notice the Bloodhound I knocked, right? So he is downed. I don't know if they rezzed him or not. Instead of sitting here and hitting those 4 cells, from before I realized there's an armor swap here. This allows me to get into the fight quicker and to win this fight for my team. Now, how we talked about, this is a great building to 1v3. You have the zip line, you have multiple doors, you can bamboozle people, you can climb up on them, you can sneak up on people in this building. I like it a lot. So the key here is to try to isolate into 3 separate 1v1s, remember. Now, we did knock somebody and they get that res off. So here we see we're scanned here, drop down, the Mirage is coming to try to get us, get a first quick knock, and immediately I'm thinking I need to get up because that Bloodhound or his teammate is going to follow up, take the zip line right after me, okay? So that was a 1v1. Here goes 1v1 number 2. Now I know that Bloodhound was weak because I knocked him earlier, so he's probably sitting down there taking cells or a battery, so I have time for this other 1v1. Missed a couple shots. Alright, so 2 down, right? Now this Bloodhound, he isn't a bad player. He's smart. He's not sitting down there at the bottom and reviving the Mirage. Instead, I hear zipline immediately, so I think I need to get high ground, okay? This is why this building's great, because if we're in a normal 2-story building, I might not have a way out. I just probably get pushed by the Octane and I'm dead, or I get pushed by this Bloodhound and I'm dead. Because I know that this Bloodhound's pretty low and he didn't even fully heal, I'm going to take height over him. I'm not going to heal. I'm not going to phase out. I'm going to take height and I'm going to end this fight early. So I get height again. while he's in the climbing animation. He can't do anything about this. The climbing animation, he is a sitting duck, a sitting target right there. And he's pretty low, do 106 damage to him, and boom, we got it, squad wipe. So that is the building that I really like. There's lots of buildings kind of like this scattered throughout the map of World's Edge. The zip lines, the multiple levels, the height. Make sure you're utilizing the zip lines. Make sure you're utilizing the height to try to get away. Get that first knock, get away, see if they revive, and kind of follow up after that and keep getting those other knocks. Make sure you use high ground and make sure you try and escape when you're getting chased and utilize that to capitalize on 1v1 scenarios. All right, so the next tip we're gonna analyze with this video is positioning. Now I know what you're thinking, location, positioning, aren't those two kind of the same thing? They are similar, however, more with positioning is we want to utilize places that provide us cover and that benefit us to peek from multiple angles. Within this positioning tip, I want to add that you should always keep cover for shoulder peeking or jiggle peeking as I call it, or head glitching. Jiggle peeking is utilizing cover next to your shoulder in order to pop in and out of cover. I try and have at least 30 to 40% of my screen covered with an obstacle. That way I can be a much more difficult target to hit. With that in mind, the Mastiff and Wingman are the two best weapons to jiggle peek with, and I will say the Mastiff is probably the best weapon in the game at pulling off some insane multi-kills. Jiggle peeking is such a big part of this game, being able to take a 1v3 gunfight, because with positioning, you can isolate those fights much more into 1v2 or 1v3 scenarios. For instance, if you have a box to play directly in front of you, and you have one enemy on your left and one enemy on your right, you can isolate that fight into a 1v1 by utilizing the cover on one side. The enemy on your right will not be able to shoot you while you're addressing that enemy on your left. Also, always watch out for the flank. Commonly, the flank can be beneficial for you. What you can do is you can address that flank quickly, and it allows you to have a quick 1v1 isolated fight. Just make sure you thirst that enemy and grab the shield quickly, or use that down target as bait so you can address the other enemies. In addition to jiggle peeking, there are also cover locations in the game where you can utilize taking a fight where only the tip of your head is exposed, and this is called head glitching. So it's just something simple, guys. Just try to utilize cover that can provide you some head glitches. It'll just make you a much more difficult target to hit. In addition to basic positioning, is you want to be repositioning frequently. When you're outnumbered, you want to seemingly be difficult to read and unpredictable. This means that you want to pick shots from various angles, and you want to not peek the same angle for too long or you'll be focus fired. So keep in mind, guys, make sure you're jiggle and head peeking and that you're being very unpredictable with your angles when you're taking shots. While you're positioning, obviously you want to keep all the enemies in front of you at all times, and if you're ever overwhelmed with your position, simply disengage and find another location and another position that's going to be beneficial to you. Now, Wraith, Bangalore, and Pathfinder, kind of Octane, they all do a little bit better at disengaging because they have more mobility. So if you're trying to do this and you're trying to win more 1v3s or 1v2s, try these legends. Now here we'll kind of analyze some gameplay and talk about these positioning strategies. All right, so we're gonna look at another in-game scenario and an example, and we're gonna really analyze positioning here. So let's get into it. Oh, sniper shots at me from that tower to the right. I'm getting eyes on, seeing if anybody's coming. Somebody's taking the zip line. I see two on the zip line, so I hit one for 47. I'm trying to get forward position on them. Right now, I do have the low ground versus them. If they come over and they get this high ground right here, I'm going to be in big trouble. So I'm trying to establish a little bit better high ground. All right, so here the Bloodhound comes out. He gets me with the scan. Pop a couple shots. Notice that we're using this cover on the right here. I'm utilizing this box. We take a couple shots. That's all you need. And then as you're reloading, you get behind that box. You come back out, pop another couple shots, and one is knocked, okay? We don't know how many there are. There might be two. There might be three. So I see that guy to my right. I'm still utilizing this cover to my right, and I get hit with a Peacekeeper, guys. So the Peacekeeper's deadly. This is a lifeline. She can get that res pretty easily. Here, I try to play super defensively. When you do not have the fight in your favor, I only have 12 bullets in the mag right here. I just took more damage. This guy has more health and more shield than I do. The fight is not in my favor, and I want to assess the situation. I want to get into a better spot that favors me. So right here, I go ahead and I think I need to back up a little bit. I don't have time to thirst that kill, so he's probably going to get him. The lifeline's probably going to revive him, but that's okay. We're just going to reset, and we're going to have another opportunity here in a little bit.
Just 10 seconds.
So here I noticed there's a Pathfinder grappling over. There's a jump pad. This team is pushing them hot. So here I throw the nade in. Looks like they Revenant ulted. We're ticking for flesh, so that's good. Team's dead. They are Revenants. So shadow form, so I'm pushing up, trying to get some damage on, send him back. Oh, he's... And I want to keep my armor here, because I've read those boxes were gold.
He was red. Yeah, the Revenant thing for me.
Popping a couple shots, kind of utilizing this rock here a little bit to my advantage. Wingman is great for that shoulder or that jiggle peek. And right now, my goal is to keep everyone in front of me, okay? And to utilize this cover. Now I find this rock over here to my left. This rock is very good because this rock is very big and I can isolate this fight. I can try to split those attackers into 2 separate fights. I can have somebody on my right, somebody on my left. And right here, I'm just playing passive because I'm trying to wait for somebody to make a mistake. You want to play passive aggressive. I don't want to push up. I don't want to play super aggressive. I want to see them make a mistake. And here it is. The Revenant goes for the left flank and I'm able to address that. So guys, that is exactly the way you guys should be utilizing cover on your left side, especially when you're switching weapons. You can even see it here that I pop a couple wingman shots, and as I'm switching my weapon, I'm unable to be hit by this Revenant. So a couple shots, switch weapons, and dip behind the cover there, switch to the R9, and now I know that immediately I need to address this other legend, because as soon as I knock this guy on the left, I know that that guy on the right is going to be pushing. So look back over. Here he comes. He's out in the open, just running out in the open. Utilizing this cover, utilizing this positioning has been so beneficial to me and has done so much. So, crack his shield. I'm cracked as well. I need to reload, so utilize this cover still. Finish the reload. This guy is thinking that I'm going to keep high ground and push around this rock to the right side. And here, this is just kind of how I like to say, be unpredictable. I just run over there like a madman, slide jump to his left, and kind of end the fight. He's projecting me to be on that right side, and I'm not there, and boom. That is how we played it there. So not a full 1v3, but 2 separate 2v2s, and you just have to play them a little bit passively. You have to force a mistake from your enemy. That is how you win these. I separated each of those fights into separate fights. If you ever have 2 people shooting you at once, you get out of there, you reposition, you find a better spot. And that rock there was really clutch. It's on a little bit of high ground, and I was able to address people on the left, and I was able to address the other guy on the right separately. So guys, keep that in mind there. All right, so the last tip is sort of a playstyle that you need to take on when you're solo, and that is the passive-aggressive playstyle where you're smart about when and how you strike. Obviously, if the whole enemy team is weak from fighting your squad or another squad, it's going to be much more beneficial to start that fight early. You can also bait your own revives to force aggression from that team if the positioning is in your advantage. Also, make sure you're utilizing armor swaps in these fights. Being able to swap to another set of fresh armor is going to help tremendously with these fights. Heck, if you want, you can even drop multiple armors in a position if you have time to kind of bunker up and defend one location. So more about this playstyle. Obviously you want to be confident, but mainly you want to be smart, and what you should have going on in your head is, do I have the advantage here? With that being said, you need to know as a player that when you have an advantage such as high ground or a surprise attack on an unknown enemy, that is exactly when you want to be aggressive. However, if at any point the odds aren't in your favor and you have low ground or you're being pushed to a poor location, know that you need to play passive and reposition so that you can force them into a mistake. See, what happens with this playstyle is your enemies become antsy. They break apart, they separate, they make stupid mistakes, and this playstyle allows you to isolate those 1v1s and allows you to win versus a whole squad. With that specific playstyle, the key point is getting that first knockdown. Usually if you're able to ambush the first guy and get a knockdown, that makes your situation much more manageable. Typically, if you can, try to knock the lifeline first, just because, oh my gosh, lifeline can be such a headache when you're trying to solo a squad. squad, that combat medic ability is just so good. So guys, get that first knock, see if you can bait the res, and then chuck some nades and be aggressive. Lastly, with this solo playstyle, make sure you're utilizing the strength of your weapons. You know, if you have an R301, that benefits most at mid-range. If you have a Mastiff, try peeking around cover and taking close range fights, thirsting quickly and grabbing shields, and repositioning. So guys, I hope this guide and these tips will benefit you. If you like the video, make sure you give it a like, make sure you give it a thumbs up. It really helps to share the channel and it really helps to share the video to others, and I would really appreciate it. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe to the channel and join the Bears Den for future Apex Legends content. All right, everyone, good luck in those future squad wipes, and I'm Grizzy, and I'm out.